Morning, welcome to a Saturday edition of Morning Scone presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com, where it is absolutely our busy season considering all of the rain and everything. People are finding all those roof problems right about now, so love to help you out there. Hudco Roofing. What's going on here? Hold on. Boom, there we go. We gotta share the YouTube. There it is, got it. One quick second, y'all, I gotta share that out. Okay. All right, so LSU lands a defensive end commit. Good call. I mean, obviously, I think the recruiting folks knew, knew what was coming. But I think the recruiting folks knew what was coming. That there was a handful of prospects who had LSU high on their lists were about to come down the pipe, and sometimes those guys are silently committed. I don't know if that was the case here, but anyway, Jackson Howard, who's an edge rusher who picked LSU. He's 6'4", 245, so he's a 4-star. He's a top 100 player in the country. So he's from Minnesota, incidentally. But he becomes the highest rated commit in LSU's class now. Prior, it was Mac Markway, the tight end out of St. Louis. So your two highest rated commits are right now from St. Louis and Minnesota. So anyway, but it was interesting, when if y'all saw Shea Dixon on AFR on Thursday, he mentioned, and it was a good point, but obviously it's something that they talked about. Shea mentioned, he said, look, a lot of these, the guys are, new to their position, but Jamar Cain, LSU's defensive line coach, Jamar Cain, was coaching defensive line at Oklahoma. So he was already recruiting highly regarded defensive linemen. So then he could just go to them and say, hey, look, why don't you just follow me here? Same concept. You're still coming to an elite place, SEC, yada, yada, yada. So kind of sounds like Jamar Cain will have some success early. Hey, told you we have houses. Panda. Come here. The grass people are here. So this is Panda. He's Pandy Poop. And come see Ellie. And this is Ellie Mae. Okay, Ellie Mae. Ellie is Panda's mommy. Say hi. This is Pandy Poop and Ellie Mae. They are snuggle bunnies. They want to be all up in your business. So they are more than happy to just hang out here for the show, huh? What do you say? What do you say? You licking my nose? Okay. What you see, huh? What you see? You lick my nose? Okay. No, hey. No bark. Hey. Okay. All right. So these are my co-hosts for the day, I guess. Now, Panda might just run along, but Ellie is quite... Oh, she's shaking. Oh, it's okay. Ellie is quite content to just sit on my lap and probably just hang out all day. All right, let's say some good mornings here. Brian Wynn, good morning. Brian Broom, good morning. Patrick McKenzie, good morning. What do you think of the new defensive end commit LSU got? Yeah, so Jackson Howard, 6'4", 245, edge rusher out of Minneapolis, picked LSU over Miami, and they slanging cash. Michigan, Minnesota had an Alabama offer as well, so a highly regarded guy. To obviously you're tapping into relationships that existed prior to the staff being here. You getting down there? Okay. It's okay. All right. But yeah, and then you also just look and you realize, okay, well, Ali Gay and BJ Ojolari, they'll both be gone after this year. You got some good young edge rushers that you're hoping are taking a step forward. The guys like Xavier Carter, Savion Jones, but you're going to need to replenish numbers there. So it makes sense. Yeah, you got to hit the defensive line hard in this class. All right. Truax, what's good, man? Tracy Eckroth, Matthew Gardner, Chris Bowman. Hey, no, listen. Oh, Ellie's shaking. The guy with the blower is right there, and she's shaking. And Panda's barking. It's okay, Ellie, man. It's okay. It's okay. Oh, it's okay. It's just a guy blowing off the grass. But she is like a vibrating chair. I mean, she is shaking. Poor girl. It's okay. All right. Where are we? Bob Poole, Stephen Fry, Dale Broussard. More big commits coming in the coming week. Yeah, man. So that was sort of the consensus. I think there's about a half dozen or so that LSU is in on that are set to make their announcements. So you should see LSU push double digits here soon in the class of 2023, which I think will hopefully quiet a lot of the noise around if Brian Kelly can recruit the SEC and blah, 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 all that stuff. So, all right, Samuel Merrifield, more Matt, do you think that Kelly has to show or prove how good the program can be? So, no, and here's why, Samuel. Like, while I do understand that, like, it's also along the same, all right, we got to readjust here. It's kind of, you fell down. Hold on. Okay. I'm gonna hold you like a baby. Okay. Just hard for both of you in this chair to sit on my lap. If I had a bigger chair, maybe. It's hard to have you both just sit. Okay. And now Drew's backpack is beeping. This is a mess. All right, hold on. You gotta get down for a minute. All right, I gotta go get Drew's backpack. Sorry, y'all. 1 second. But this is why you watch Morning Scone, right? The chaos. So here's my point. So who asked that question? I'm gonna get back to it. It was Samuel. Okay. Samuel, well, I understand the point, and that's probably true for some. The other point too is when Texas A&M signs the greatest class ever coming off an 8-4 season, when Texas is 5-7 and they're boat racing everybody right now, like, no, you don't have to prove anything on the field if you're willing to spend. So you're kind of playing two different games right now with respect to recruiting. So, I think Brian Kelly has a compelling argument to sell to any recruit. He's had success everywhere he's gone. Panda. All the things that worked prior for LSU, from Panda. Hey, come here. Hey. Oh, this guy literally right outside my window pulling weeds in the flower bed. That's why. And now they're just like play fighting. Dogs. Oh my God. All right. Anyway, the answer is basically what worked before can still work for some recruits, just not all recruits, because some are going to take the money. So until LSU starts spending in NIL for football, it's not going to work for some recruits, basically. Wendell Norman, Donovan Peterson, Chet Fontenot, good morning. Love the show. Thank you so much. Appreciate that, Chet. Jeb Whitley, what's going on? Yes, thank you. Smash the like button. Have you had Dexter 3-Wood Bourbon? I have not. Aaron Fontaine, good morning. From Fuquay, Barina, North Carolina. bringing the baby boy out this weekend for his first baseball game to watch Team USA in Durham. Did you see last night, by the way? Okay, we're getting out of here. Get up. See ya. Okay. And the guy's like literally 5 feet away from me. He's like outside the window, like the yard crew. He's like pulling weeds. So, did you see Dylan Cruz last night hit a ball over the bull, like at the Durham Bulls stadium? Dylan Cruz hit one over the bull. Incredible. With a wood bat, by the way. Guy's just insane. Jared Hills, he's not from Louisiana. The commit? Who cares? Eddie Burgar, I mean, you want me to run through the list of great players that weren't from Louisiana? Joe Burrow wasn't from Louisiana. Eddie Burgar, Jonathan Martin, Cliff Nelson, good morning. From Atlanta, all right, birthday weekend, July 3rd. Shenanigans, there you go. All right, Cliff, you're a day away, man. Chance Babin, maybe LSU recruiting folks can stop panicking long enough to enjoy the 4th of July now. Dat Cajun. Spurge, good morning. With the moves announced by UCLA and USC, how many conferences will we end up with when the dust settles? So, Spurge, so to be clear, I think, so you may still have a lot of conferences, but they're just going to be playing in different levels, right? So here's what I mean. I maintain you're going to have whatever you want to call it. One college football, Super League, whatever, okay? And it's just going to be the top 40 or so schools that all are playing basically an NFL structured season like that, where it's, I mean, you can call the league. Hey, stop barking. Stop barking, okay? You gotta stop. Okay? You're gonna wake up Drew. Stop it. Stop it. Okay? Stop barking. Okay. There, that's better. Okay? It's okay. You gotta stop barking. Okay? That's good. That's good. Now you made Ellie jealous. Alright, hold on. Come see Ellie. You can come up here. Ellie's so sweet. Ellie is just a snuggle bug. That's all she wants to do is just snuggle with you. Okay. Boy, sweet, you just gotta stop barking, okay? Alright, thank you. Okay. I don't want you to wake up Drew. So Spurge. All right, so and that can be structured however you want. You can call it the SEC Big Ten, you call it whatever you want. Like you have the NFC, AFC, I mean all within that, but that's going to be independent of all the other schools that play college football in right now in the Group of Five and the FCS. So you could still have a Pac-12, a Big 12, a Mountain West, like all those leagues. They're just going to be playing a different level of football than what the top 40 or 50 schools are going to be playing in their like one league, mega league conglomerate. So I think you got to kind of purge from your brain the idea of conferences like that. Like not right now. I mean, it's still what it is, but eventually what will happen is like how all of the leagues collectively outsourced their media rights for the postseason to the college football playoff, right? So they all agree. The SEC, Big Ten, ACC, Pac-12, Big 12, all of them. They all outsourced their grant and rights for the postseason to the college football playoff. And the college football playoff then goes and negotiates a TV deal, and then there are shares, similar to what happens with the NCAA basketball tournament. Leagues don't plan that. The NCAA does. And the NCAA has the big pot, and then they divvy it up because it's $1 billion annual contract, and they divvy it up among the leagues and the participants because there's value in numbers and putting that tournament together that way, right? So, like that's ultimately what's going to happen with regular season college football at the highest level. So, it's just not going to. You got to not think of it in terms of leagues because the leagues aren't the ones that are going to be negotiating their rights deals anymore. I mean, that's not tomorrow, that's not next year, but that's what it's going to happen eventually. And I think that's what you're asking. Let's see. Scott McClendon, you're such a dog dad. You're so good with them. Panda and Nelly are adorable. Oh, I do love dogs. I don't love the responsibility. Jeb Whitley, Matt, do you think Brian Kelly's recruiting is lackluster because of LSU being behind on NIL? Yes. Boo Daddy 1092, Matt, where can I read more about the 40 to 50 team college football Super League concept? Anywhere. Well, you know what? I was reading one that was similar yesterday. I think it was. I think it was at ESPN.com. But it's not a new concept. It's basically what most of the power brokers around college football and people who cover the sport as a whole understand and accept is hey, babe. Why? Oh, no. Look who's hanging out with me.
Hey, oh, we got both of them.
I got Pandy Poop and Ellie Mae.
Hi, girl.
Have you been hearing Panda bark?
Yes.
Well, like, she's barking at the yard people.
Yeah.
And then we came in here, and, like, I guess they're pulling weeds today, and the guy was, like, literally right there.
Yeah.
And so she's on the window. I was like, hey.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, Jason, I've turned the sound machine up because I can hear it in there.
okay, all right.
He's listening.
Okay, good. Cody Powers, good morning. I see a good year in the making. Football, basketball, baseball, a lot of potential for sure. I agree with you, Cody. I think of the three you mentioned, I think baseball will have the best year. Basketball, I really think you have to check expectations. I think this is a bubble team if they're even allowed to participate in the postseason. But they will be better than I think any of us anticipated when all 13 scholarship players hit the portal. And then football, I had to write, by the way, for a 225 magazine. They're kind enough to ask me every year to write a preview piece for their football edition. And I wrote it last night, and so I kind of deep dive into the schedule and some things, some nuance that hadn't really gone yet. And it's I think you're probably looking at an 8-4 season. Boy, I'd love it. If they could win one of the road games against either Auburn, Florida, or A&M, I think they could get to 9-3. Now they'd have to hold serve at home. You've got to beat the Mississippi schools. You got to beat Tennessee at home. You got to beat Florida State. But you do that, and you pull an upset somewhere along the way, you could get to 9. That's just a lot to ask. Greg Self, good morning. Alex Barnes, does LSU win a championship in the next 5 years, in your opinion? Oh, in football? Yeah. Yes. Look, they won in 3 and 7, and then you had a drought from 7 to 19, but you played for it at 11. So you played for it 4 years later, and then you had that drought from 11 to 19. But 15 you were closed. But yeah, I'd say in 5 years. That's fair. I mean, each of the 3 coaches that LSU's last 3 coaches that won championships all did it within 5 years. So yeah, I would say so. Reagan Leschere. Dad Cajun. That's why I don't have pets. I don't listen and are annoying. They do listen. And this isn't annoying. This is so sweet. We don't have dogs because they are it's just another responsibility, right? So to watch that, like, these are Erica's sister's family's dogs, and they're all going on vacation, so we're watching them for them. But that's just like the thing, right? Well, oh yeah, you're laying on top of Panda. It's okay, Pandy Poop. They're so sweet. Let's see. Pat Huseman, Adrian Bailey, Dat Cajun, Alex. What are your thoughts on Will Campbell for the LSU line? I think he's going to be your starting left tackle. I think he's a once every decade type player in Louisiana. I think you look at a Cam Robinson or Lyle Collins. I mean, this is the next guy closest to that. Before that, you probably have to look at Whitworth. It's about once a decade you get a guy like this roll through. I think he's your day one starter at left tackle. Jason Mabio, what's going on, bro? You better handle that dog. If she wakes up E-Rock, there's gonna be hell. It's not no E-Rock's been awake. It's Drew. That'd be the problem. But it's all good. John Boudreau, good morning. Can't wait to see USC in November play an away game in the snow and ice. That's true. Can you imagine a UCLA at Iowa game in November? Oh, USC at Indiana in November. Just how they drew it up, right? Saturday down south kept saying UNC, Duke, Virginia Tech, Virginia aren't packages. I don't legally see how they can't. So, yeah, Reagan, I don't know Saturday down south. I mean, I've heard of it. I don't know who runs that. But what I'll tell you that I know this. Like, I've had these conversations. I know this for a fact. In the last round of realignment, when LSU landed with Missouri and Texas A&M, North Carolina, Virginia Tech were also on the list, but North Carolina wasn't partying with Duke, and in the state of Virginia, because those are both state schools, their legislature has some law. You have to look it up. I don't know if it's been amended since, but they have to be in the same league. So, like, they couldn't separate from each other. So anyway, I'll see if I can find that, though. Greg T, work for a fire department in North Louisiana. Now have my entire crew drinking, listening to Morning Scone together. I love it. That's awesome. Got them hooked. That's so cool. Well, thank you all for what you do, man. Everybody at the firehouse, cheers to all of you. Let's see. Dat Cajun. How long before these big conferences break away from the NCAA? So that's a complex question, because I think the NCAA, remember, the NCAA was not formed as a legislative body. The NCAA was formed to organize championships for the college level. And they do a magnificent job at a lot of it. The basketball championship, the College World Series, the Women's College World Series, they do a great job with a lot of it. And do you really want to outsource championships for Division II lacrosse and cross country? You know what I mean? Like, so the NCAA has a purpose with a lot of that. But with respect to the revenue sports, namely football and men's college basketball, enforcement has become impossible because there's way too many resources, and it's just far exceeded the capabilities of the NCAA. So I think the NCAA still exists for all the other schools, but specifically for football, I think football will run independent of the NCAA, and that's all on the timeline that we're talking about. Let's see. Ryan Amanda Guidry, Lee Allen, good morning. Blaine Smith, morning, Matt. With NIL, schools better recruit big businesses and boosters to keep up. Recruiting them will be as important as recruiting players. Yeah, I mean, for sure. I mean, LSU's got its boosters. It's just, as I've said a whole bunch, man, it's just been a really expensive 18 months. They'll re-engage at some point, just not right now. Stephen Robeek, what's good, my dude? Ben Guillat, with these West Coast teams joining the Big Ten, does the SEC look to add more teams? Yeah, Ben, probably so. Who would be next? I think I just mentioned. I think North Carolina and Virginia Tech would be the most appealing. Again, to reiterate, people always say, well, it's Clemson, Florida State. If you're going to add a school to the conference, remember, that now you're taking the pie and you're sharing it you're cutting 2 extra slices. So in adding those schools, they have to increase the size of the pot enough to where everyone gets a bigger slice. That's not going to be the case for Florida State and Clemson. Geographically, culturally, competitively, all that makes sense. But you've already got market share in Florida. You've already got market share in South Carolina. Adding those two schools doesn't add enough brand and value to your rights deals that you're going to be able to command a high enough dollar amount to justify giving up the pie two more ways. So you'd have to go into the state of North Carolina, into the state of Virginia, get markets that you don't currently have. Bart St. Germain, hey Dad, what's up? Lee Allen, where'd you get that shirt? This X Design made these. My buddy Hunter Terrio, his company made these. So he was kind enough to send me one when Burrow won the Heisman. Chuck Sanchez, what's up, Chuck? Get it? Up, Chuck? Brant Roban, good morning from Gulf Shores. Bubba Tatum, Arthur Kotko. Why can't I get Lincoln Riley going on a snowy Saturday in Iowa out of my head? Kenneth Westbrook, Kelly Gross. Lee Allen, puppies are so much fun. Our dog is too, still does that. Stephen Fry, yesterday in your interview with Jay, he mentioned Thompson having versatility. He mentioned Trey is going to be in the lineup. Saw that, didn't you? Tea leaves are telling me Trey in left field, Jordan Thompson somewhere else. What's going to happen, Stephen, is Thompson, Pineda, Carter Young, they will all go and compete. And whoever's the best of the three is going to play shortstop. And the other two will either play second and third. That's how that's going to go. And yes, he said Trey Morgan is going to be in the lineup. He did not say at first base. Shane Henry, what's up? Patrick McKenzie, will Pac-12 go back to being Pac-10? I don't think so, Patrick. I think the Pac-12 is going to add more schools. It's like the Big Ten. You know, when they added Penn State, what was that, 93? They became the Big 11, and they stayed they had 11 schools, but stayed the Big Ten, and then obviously now they're 14, and they're still, the Big Ten. So. Let's see, Brant Roban. So by 2030-ish, you're going to have an NFL model with divisions and a playoff system with college. I think 2030 is a good, I would definitely look at the current college football playoff contract and say, when that expires is probably when you're starting to look at a different way to go about doing things. If Oregon and Washington join the Big Ten, does the SEC, okay, there's the Clemson Florida State question. What you need, babe? Yeah. Shelby Kelly, morning peeps. Love the interview with Jay. Every time I hear him speak, I can't help but feel enthusiastic about the future of the program. I can only imagine what it's like with his players' recruits behind closed doors. Countdown to February. Brant, maybe I'm optimistic. Why couldn't we beat most of the teams this season behind Bama and A&M? We recruit, have the solid players, too hard to transition with the first-year staff. Brant, it's just, okay, so you're going to play at Auburn, at Florida. Those are really hard road games, bro. Really good LSU teams have struggled to win in those venues. 2 years ago, in the COVID year, you went to Auburn, you got the doors blown off of you by an okay Auburn team. You went to Florida and you upset them in the fog because, your idiot threw a shoe. But those are just really tough places to go play. So it's just hard to say I'm going to scribble a W on the schedule. And similarly, you just have a lot of questions, man. I think as fans, you tend to overlook or excuse away your team's shortcomings. You are not better in the defensive backfield than you were last year with Stingley and Ricks and McLaughlin. You went and got a bunch of transfers, guys who played a lot, but none of those guys are NFL prospects. Not like what you had. You have a whole new offensive line. Hope some of these transfers work out. I hope Tremont Shorts is a stud. I hope Will Campbell's ready as a freshman to play left tackle. You hope Charles Turner's ready to play center. If not, you just, and the truth is, Brant, some of those things are absolutely going to work out. Maybe the offensive line turns out to be fine or studs, but maybe at corner you're not as good. Maybe you get just adequate quarterback play. Maybe you end up having to play three guys. I just think some of this, it's natural, right? not everything is going to go perfect. Not everything is going to be awful. As most things in life, the truth lies somewhere in between. And that's probably what will happen this season. You know, you give Brian Kelly time to start building his team, his roster, his culture, all that stuff, and I think they'll get better. Let's see, Bubba Tatum, USC defensive coordinator, is going to walk out the job. First time Iowa runs a 3 tight end formation with fullback. Kenneth, he's got Stanford. I mean, Stanford's in the Pac-12, so they faced that already. Kenneth Kyle, Matt, enjoyed the interview with Chuck Oliver. Oh, cool, thanks, man. Yeah, so I was on Chuck's show Wednesday, whatever day it was. Chuck's awesome, man. If you don't listen to Chuck Oliver, you should. If you love college football. So he's based out of Atlanta. He does afternoons on 680 The Fan in Atlanta. But he does a show in the midday called the Chuck Oliver Show. It's a college football, 2-hour college football show. And we re-air it on 104.5 from 8 to 10 p.m. So, but you can listen to it live. I think he's on from like 10 to noon Central, 11 to 1 Eastern. Ron Wilson, are you worried about Alvin Kamara getting suspended? I mean, he's going to be suspended for 6 games. So if that's what you're asking, am I concerned with how the Saints offense, in particular the running game, handles his absence? Yes, I am. Let's see, Brandon DeVille over 7 wins at DraftKings. Good. Yes, for LSU, I would say so. If you can get 7, yes, 7.5 is tricky because I don't think LSU's 6-6. I think with this coaching staff and with that schedule, I think 7-5 would be their floor, but I think 9-3 is their ceiling. So I think you're somewhere there. Deborah Coward, good morning. Kane Worthy, when do you think we will expand from a 14 playoff? Kane, it was supposed to happen last summer, but then once the SEC added Texas and Oklahoma, the rest of college football got all up in their feelings and pulled the 12-team proposal off. So, I mean, they wanted to wait and see how, everything shakes. So, as it currently stands, I mean, you'll expand when this current contract is done. Patrick Kason, Raed Majid, good morning. LSU 10-2. I mean, I'll take that bet. I did that once before though with a guy who still owes me $500. Eric Hart, good morning from Women's Hospital. Great day with my new Catholic High Bear. There you go, Eric Hart. Cheers. The Hart family welcomed a baby boy yesterday. Erica gave me the good news, so congrats. Hope mama and baby are doing great, and big sisters are excited as well. So cheers to y'all, man. Hope it's an awesome day. Y'all get. I was gonna say y'all get some sleep, but y'all probably ain't gonna get no sleep no more. You're done sleeping for the rest of your life, bro. Let's see. Where are we? Where was I? All right, let's see. Back to YouTube. By the way, I lost my spot. All right, smash the like button, by the way. So we shout out to Brock, 113 watching there on YouTube. Facebook, we've got 53. So good crowd this morning. We appreciate y'all. If you're on YouTube, smash the like button. If you're new, please subscribe up to the Matt Scone page. Whenever we do our lives, we go live from here. So just hit the red subscribe button. I mean, it's free. It just, shows up in your feed whenever we post a video. So, Brad David, are you happy to see all the success Jordy's having on his show? Absolutely, man. Jordy and I had lunch last week, as a matter of fact. It was good to hang out with him for a bit, man. Been a minute. So, I mean, like I always say, I don't believe that in this business, like, I believe that there's enough abundance in life for everybody to have success. Nobody's success comes at somebody else's expense. So, absolutely. I want everybody to do well, man. Jordy's a friend, so for sure. Let's see, Cody Boudreaux, Jeb Whitley, Matt, why is the Big 12 so hard-headed? Why are they not merging with the remaining Pac-12 teams? Remember, Jeb, they just added 4 new teams. So they just added Cincinnati, Central Florida, Houston, and BYU. So they went from 12 to 10, now added 4 instead of 14. You'd really have to consider what that structure would look like, considering you just expanded to 14. You got to go to 24. I mean, I don't know what you do. Like that's the tough part, you know. Let's see, Ice Clan 22. Good morning, Cody Boudreaux. I'd be happy with 8-4 if we show progression. Jay Pruhoit 9-3. Look, I mean, I would love to see him go 9-3. I don't think that's in the cards. If you made me pick today, I would say they go 8-4. I think they lose the road games to Auburn, Florida, and A&M, and the home game to Bama. I think they beat Florida State, they beat Tennessee, they beat the Mississippi schools, and they win at Arkansas. That's how I think it would go. But y'all, the other thing too, don't sleep on UAB. You play UAB on that sleepy second to last week of the season, between road trips to Arkansas and A&M. So you go Bama at Arkansas, UAB at A&M. So, I mean, you could be at a spot where you're asleep at the wheel and UAB clips you. I mean, I know Bill Clark just retired, but that's a tough game where it is on the schedule too. Can LSU make strides, close the gap in NIL, or are they already doing that? Yes, they can. But Jared, I maintain, I'm using this as evidence, but what I'm seeing in baseball right now, I think what you've seen happen is baseball's most ardent supporters have seen Mississippi State and Ole Miss win, and they're like, yeah, no. What do you need? And so you have a renewed intensity among baseball's biggest supporters. I think the same thing will happen in football. I think when A&M keeps, rounding up top 5 classes or best class in the country and all this sort of stuff, and turns that into wins, I think that's when in turn you see LSU's most ardent boost. And you keep losing kids from Louisiana to your rivals, I think that's when you see LSU's boosters, football boosters, really re-engage. Brandon, I have a Siberian Husky if you want a dog sit for me. I'd watch your Siberian Husky. I love dogs. Roger Dodger, Swerve, what's up? 10 wins, buckle up. The way they could get to 10 is if they go 9-3, the path I just described, where you win one of the road games against Auburn, Florida, or A&M. You hold serve at home, except for Bama. And you go 9-3, and then you win a bowl game. That's how you could get to 10. But I would not in any way bet on that. Lee C. SEC Big Ten will eventually combine. We'll have one big super league for college football. Miami is interesting for the Big Ten. Hey, you gotta remember this. See, this is the other thing too. Like, people, and that was from Roger Dodger. I don't mean for this in any way to sound like I'm attacking you or anything, because I'm not. But I think when you start to see the realignment stuff, conversations, people start throwing out names that seem like could make sense competitively, or they go to this area, but you forget sometimes about the contracts as well. So like the ACC just extended their media rights deal. So last year, when everything happened with the Big Ten or with the SEC, Texas, and OU, the ACC extended their media rights deal to 2036. So remember, right now, the Texas and Oklahoma, like, they haven't left yet because their grant rights doesn't expire until 2025. You're talking 3 years, okay? Their exit fee would be $80 million each. The ACC, they extended their media rights deal through 2036. More than a decade. Like, the ACC did that in all the leagues to provide, in all the teams in the league to provide stability for their league. But they're all stuck. Like, all those ACC schools are stuck. They can't go nowhere. I mean, who can afford to pay that type of exit fee to get out of the ACC? So, I mean, unless they're turning around a decade's worth of grant and rights, which, by the way, why would a league then want to bring you in? if your grant and rights stays with the ACC for another decade, why would I want to bring you in if I can't go negotiate with you in my package? Because your grant and rights are with that other league still. So, no. So there's just a lot of that involved in these conversations that I think the average fan doesn't know. If you just don't take the time to actually dive deep into those contracts, those deals, and how all that stuff is structured. And that's why you have me. Because while y'all are working, that's my job, is to know all that stuff. Smart Thinking, just had them do that. We have it live streaming on TV. I don't know what that is. John Boudreau, missed it yesterday. Happy Bobby Bonilla Day. Yes, yesterday was Bobby Bonilla Day, July 1. Gosh dog it. Keep missing my spot here. Let's see. All right, Kyle Milliken. Morning, Matt. Think second base would be good for Thompson. Nope, big arm. He'll go to third. Roger Dodger, Bobby Bonilla gets $1 million a year. Yep. Spurge, how would you rank the quarterback room? What do you mean, like the four? How would I rank the four, or rank it among the rest of the SEC? I mean, I still think Jaden Daniels is your most experienced. Miles Brennan, is your oldest. Big arm, everything. Nussmeier, then Howard. That's how I would rank it. I know everybody disagrees because everybody thinks Nussmeier is going to win the job. But did you hear Joe Sloan on the show the other day when I asked him to do the word association? I asked him to do the word association for his quarterbacks. I said, so I'm going to say the name and just tell me, what comes to mind. For Brennan and Daniels, he said poised and consistent. I mean, when you're trying to win games, you want to eliminate variables. Quarterbacks that are veteran, that are poised and consistent, you can win games with those guys. Let's see. Kirk Taylor, good morning. Is it almost baseball season? Jeb, Matt, do you have an LSU football player or two you're most excited to see play this year? Yeah, you mentioned John Emery. By the way, E-M-E-R-Y on Emory. E-M-O-R-Y is the school in Atlanta. But, yeah, John Emery, I think, is probably the guy because we've just talked about him for so long. Defensively, probably Greg Penn. They're hyping him big, man, and he looks the part, and they need somebody to step up at linebacker, and I think Greg Penn is probably who I would tell you. Brandon, good morning. Kirk, this is not Hershey. We've got, for those just joining us, we've got Panda and Ellie. Pandy Poop and Ellie Mae. Yep, Ellie is Panda's mama. So Eric is, so y'all remember, for those who were with us on vacation, y'all remember Sophia and Olivia. These are Sophia and Olivia's dogs. So they were getting a dog, and so they got Panda. Well, when they went to get Panda, the breeder had mentioned that this was going to be Ellie's last litter, and so they were looking for a home for Ellie. So they took Mama and Baby. Okay, you want to go? Okay. All right, go ahead, Pandy Poop. What are you looking at? Ellie, meanwhile, is going nowhere. All Ellie ever wants to do is just snuggle.
Hey. No treat, come on.
Oh, that'll get Ellie. Go get a treat. Go get a treat. Go get a treat. Hey, what are you doing? What are you barking at? Who's she barking at? Hey, stop. Hey, what are you barking at? Stop. What are you barking at? I think she heard the neighbor's lawnmower. Wow. All right, so shout out to Brock, Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Do business with someone you know. Let's see. Brett Dagro, the Pirate. Matt, what's your opinion on how many teams in the conference? I believe they should stop at 16. Yeah, it's... Y'all, you got to purge that idea out of your brain. It's... Anyway. Brett Dagro, what conference does Notre Dame join? That's another thing that people don't ever really know or pay attention to. So Notre Dame's contract with the ACC, remember, Notre Dame plays every sport but football in the ACC. Notre Dame is contractually obligated that if they ever join a football conference, they have to join the ACC. So Notre Dame to the Big Ten is a non-starter. If Notre Dame ever joins a conference, they will join the ACC. Contractually, they are obligated to do that. Hey. Come see. She's like barking at, she's barking at the fathead, the Drew fathead. Close, or just push the door all the way open. She's barking at the Drew fathead on the wall. She didn't see it before because it was behind the door. Yeah, so if Notre Dame joins a league, they would have to join the ACC contractually. That's 1. 2, Notre Dame's not joining a league, y'all. Notre Dame has always maintained there's 2 reasons why they want to remain a football independent. 1, as long as they have their own media rights deal, which they will. When their NBC deal expires, NBC will renew it because everybody needs content, and live sports are something that translates to stream. And if you're NBC and you're pushing Peacock, well, Notre Dame football is a way to push people to go to Peacock. Anyway, so that's 1. And 2 is if they have a reasonable path to the playoff. Well, the playoff's going to expand. When the playoff expands, they'll have an even easier path to the playoff than they do right now when it's just 4 teams. So, the only way I could ever see Notre Dame giving up its grant and rights is when what I suggest happens, which is you have a collective college football league, and if Notre Dame joins that league, where everybody, similar to the college football playoff, Notre Dame doesn't negotiate its own price for the college football playoff; it participates in the playoff. So anyway. Migo Tez, Kirk Taylor, Auburn's a dumpster fire. I think LSU takes that game. Okay. Kirk, you do realize that I could argue LSU's a dumpster fire. You played a bowl game with 39 players on the field. You turned over half your roster. You had 17 mid-year enrollees. Brian Kelly hired 48 new staff members. You do realize, that you could make the same argument. People outside of Louisiana, outside of the LSU circles, would argue LSU's a dumpster fire. So, you're going to see it with purple and gold glasses, just like Auburn fans will see it with their orange and blue glasses. Zachary Moe, is it fair to see this football team will be less talented but look better than last year? Yeah. That's fair. Look at all the players you had drafted. You had a talented football team last year. You were just horribly coached and whatever. Edmund Seal, good morning, Chance Babb. And it's funny, Oregon and Washington would give up in-state rivalries in a heartbeat to join the Big Ten, but Bama will strangle. Would you open that door all the way then just to block the fat head? So that's what she's barking at. Okay, Pandy Poop. Okay. Here we go. 1 and... All right, you come here too. Come here. Oh, Ellie. Wait, come here, old lady. She's an old lady. Ellie Mae's an old lady, huh? You're sitting up like a person. Like a baby. Hi, Ellie Mae. Oh, that was sweet. Hey, Pandy Poop. All right. Hang on. Hang on. Let's get comfortable here. Hold on. All right, there we go. Ready? Good. See, this chair is very comfortable for me, but it's not comfortable for me to hold 2 dogs. Okay. Why are your paws wet? Did you go outside? I think it was cold. Okay. Let's see. Larry Gardner, Christian, I'm confused. Say anything college will become more like the NFL in a way where it'll be NFC versus AFC. Yeah, Christian, basically, what I'm saying is, right now, The SEC has its own media rights deal, has its own schedule format, right? It's a different number of teams. The ACC has its own media rights deal, its own scheduling format, its own number of teams. Same with the Big 12 and the Pac-10 or the Pac-12 and the Big 10, right? You understand? So like you have all of these like every conference in college football is its own entity. And then they collectively agree to outsource their postseason to the college football playoff. Prior, all these leagues collectively agreed to outsource their postseason to the BCS. And then you could do what you want for your non-conference games, and you get a gate, and you could schedule intersectional games or whatever you want to do, right? What I'm saying is going to happen is you're not going to have an SEC rights deal, a Big 10 rights deal, an ACC rights deal, a Big 12 rights deal. You're just going to have college football, where it'll be invite only, and it'll be 40 teams or so, and those top tier teams will go to CBS and ABC and ESPN, NBC, Hulu, Apple, Amazon, and will go negotiate rights deals the same way that the NFL negotiates a rights deal. Like the NFC South doesn't have its own rights deal. The AFC North doesn't have its own rights deal. There's an NFL deal for all 32 teams. That's what's going to happen with college football. It's not going to be 64 teams, or I think maybe 64, 65 in the Power 5 right now. Like you're going to cut the dead weight that doesn't bring you any value. Like, sorry, Kansas, but you're not going to be involved. You know what I mean? So it's going to be like that. So call it AFC, NFC, call it sectionally north, south, east, west. Call it whatever you want. I don't care what you call it. Call it the Big 10. Call it the SEC. I don't care. But like my point is, you're not going to have independent leagues having their own rights deals, their own rules, their own way to crown a conference champion, their own, you see what I mean? Like, as it exists now, all of those schools collectively are going to come together and be one league, is what I'm saying. Strong Side, good morning. Yeah, man, have a safe 4th of July. Brown Bear 765, morning, Matt. Could you watch my half black lab, half Italian Mastiff for my wedding in October? Maybe I could be a dog sitter for hire. Panda saying good morning. Jeb Whitley, Matt, the SEC needs to expand again in the coming years to stay competitive with the Super League model. Who's left? Again, like, I don't think you'll understand. The SEC is going to 16 with Texas and Oklahoma. When that rights deal with those two schools is negotiated, it will be bigger than the rights deal the Big 10 is going to negotiate with USC and UCLA, or on par with. By the time any of those rights deals ever expire again, like, there will be such a seismic shift where, like, you will see a league like the Pac-12 no longer exists. You will see what I'm describing. So I don't think it's like what you're like. I understand why you're asking the question, because for a decade we've seen all this realignment and expansion. We're like, well, who's next? Who could be next? And I understand the question, and maybe Missouri jumps to the Big 10, and the SEC's looking to add a school, and maybe they go make a play for North Carolina or something like that. But I just don't think you're going to see that. I don't. I think before the SEC adds more schools, you're going to see the college football conglomerate come together. D. Spur to miss the fat head. Chance, LSU supposedly has alignment. Auburn tried to run coach off while he was on vacation. That might be the difference. And none of that matters when you're on the field. Whatever. Okay. Let's see. Another show pointed out if an ACC team can make 40 to 50 million more a year than the SEC, they pay 80 million to get out of the ACC. So, but the point is, where it's going to cost way more than 80 million to get out of the ACC. 2036 is when that rights deal expires, and you're seeing right now with Oklahoma, like, they can't stroke a check for 80 million. It's why Oklahoma and Texas aren't in the league already. Texas can, Oklahoma can't. So they're trying to figure out a way to finance that $80 million exit fee to to come early. Otherwise, they'll just stay where they are until 2025. What I think will happen is I think the ACC, in an effort to keep I think the ACC will go to a model that the Big 12 had, which is the Big 12 gave Texas and Oklahoma a larger share of the pie than Kansas and Texas Tech. You know what I mean? It was unequal revenue splits. I think the ACC might have to do the same thing. The ACC gives Clemson and Florida State, Miami, and Virginia Tech more than they give Duke and NC State and Wake Forest, like that sort of thing. Oh, I hear trouble. Man. Let's see. Let's go find my spot back here. Let's see. Samuel Merrifield, when do you think the NCAA announces sanctions against basketball? I hope it's before, man. I hope it's before. You know what I would hate for it to be, Samuel? I would hate for them to do it in the middle of the season. Which, I mean, look, they announced the NOA right before the tournament. So, I mean, that's what I would expect the NCAA to do, is to jab LSU in the eye one more time, because they've done it all the way along every time they've had the opportunity with this whole thing. Brant, very impressed with JJ finishing top 4 in SEC, being dead last in defense. Can't wait to see how far we go next season. I agree with that. Everyone who's all worried about this bait, I'm like, with no pitching, with no starting pitching, and being dead last in the league in defense, to win 17 league games is really impressive. Eric Trosclair, born from Grand Isle. All right, man. Thank you for doing these. Always enjoy watching. Thank you, man. Appreciate that. Thank you for watching. Shelby, heard you talk about the Big 12 media deal and the ACC deal, but how does the addition of these teams affect the SEC deal? Oh, with Texas and Oklahoma? I mean, the SEC annual revenue per school will clear $100 million. This year, they divided $777 million 15 ways. So 14 member institutions and 1 share for the league office. So they divided 777 15 ways. I think every school got 55 million, so 56 million, something like that. Adding Texas and Oklahoma will grow the pot to where each team will, in the next media rights deal with Texas and Oklahoma, every school will get $100 million. I mean, that's what Texas is. I mean, that's when you add Texas, I mean, you're adding what is the biggest brand in college football. I'm not saying they're the best team, best program, best history, but the biggest brand, yes, that's what you're adding with Texas. Oh, Ellie, you slipped. Oh, okay, Pandy. All right, we're almost done. All right. Go see Erica. Okay. Do you think Bryce Young will struggle playing a night game in Death Valley? I do not. Who do you think? Who you got tonight? Oh, give me for the UFC 276. Give me Izzy. Dude's so good. When will we see a 12-team playoff? We would have seen it already. They tried to vote on it last year, but then the SEC screwed everything up by adding Texas and Oklahoma, and the rest of the college football said, bleep you. Greg Phillips. Let's see, Shelby. By the way, I'm not touching Durant with a 10-foot pole. I would absolutely. By the way, we talked about this yesterday on AFR on the 5 o'clock hour. Here's my question, because there's been these talks about a proposed trade with Brooklyn to bring Kevin Durant to New Orleans. So, like, Bobby Marks was on ESPN with the trade machine, and one of the proposed trades he made was it was Brandon Ingram, Larry Nance, Herb Jones, and 3 first-rounders for Kevin Durant. And I would do it. I would. It would kill me to lose those young assets, but I think you have to ask yourself the question, are you trying to win games and be really good, or are you trying to win championships? And I get Kevin Durant's 33 years old, and he is nearer the end than the beginning, but with Kevin Durant, C.J. McCollum, Zion, Jonas Valanciunas, Trey Murphy, Alvarado, Daniels, Dice Daniels, who you just drafted. Like, you've got a strong enough core around your big three to win a championship. Over the next 10 years, obviously I believe Brandon Ingram will be a better player than Kevin Durant over the next 10 years. But it's almost like the Shaq-Kobe conundrum. Not exactly one-to-one because, they had obviously already won championships. But the Lakers chose Kobe. And the Heat were willing to do that deal because they still got Shaq at the time at an MVP level, and they won a championship. And it took the Lakers a little while to get rolling, but they did. And once they did again, they won a couple more titles for Kobe. If the goal is to win a championship, Kevin Durant gives you a better chance to win a championship. So I would do the deal. Time to get to the beach with the girls and some beers and pina coladas. Have a great day. Thank you, Brand. Thanks for watching, man. I appreciate it. Before we bounce, I'm contractually obligated to do this.
When you need a roof, call someone you know. Scone, Ontario.
All you need is Hudco.
Call Hudco Roofing.
364.
1007.
All right, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Hudco is pinned in the post there, so do me a solid and click that Hudco link and pin in the comments, I should say. Click that Hudco link, fill out the contact form. Let us give you a free, no obligation roofing inspection. We'd love to help you out. All right, a couple more. What is the ACC number? Like, what's their payout? Each ACC school, I believe, got $34 million. ACC revenue distribution. They distributed just under $3.5 billion. $36.1 million. So SEC, each SEC school got $55 million. ACC schools each got $36 million. So the SEC schools each got $20 million more than the ACC schools, and you're about to add Texas and Oklahoma, right? So that gap, which is already massive, is about to get even wider. Good question. Jeb Whitley, Matt, I get it now. Where we're going, roads won't matter. Roads, where we're going, we don't need roads. Matthew Garter, yo, you didn't make it up to Tennessee for that new Coy Bill release? I don't get it. What's Coy Bill? Are you talking about Coy Hill? Talking about Coy Hill? Where's my Coy Hill? Over there. Is that what you're talking about?
Yep.
Hey, Drew. Oh, he is, baby. He's wet.
He's wet?
Look at him.
Oh, okay. Okay, are you almost done?
Done. I'll change him. Yep. He's soaking wet. That's what happens when you get a diuretic and you stay in bed for 2 extra hours. Okay, I gotta go. I just heard Eric go, oh no. All right, let me go change Drew. Okay, y'all have a great day. Thank you for watching. Brock Rock and Wine is August the 6th. Get your tickets at brortho.com and, of course, Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Because I'm now going to have to probably buy new sheets. Maybe you could help us by letting us fix your roof. That would be great. How about that trade-off? All right, we'll see y'all. Have a great day.